Halloween is supposed to be a night filled with fun with friends and lighthearted horror. However, what if these fears were real and something truly disturbing were to happen on Halloween? This was the case on Halloween in 1969, when Pamela Hobley and Patricia Spencer went missing and were never seen again. This is their case. As always, I'm going to give my usual disclaimer. So this is all public information that I have gathered. All of this is my opinion only unless I've stated otherwise, and all of my sources are listed down below. Now, let's get into it. Now, I like to start out most of my videos about some background on the people who went missing and what their lives were like or what their personalities were like, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to gather much on either girl. All I could find was that both girls were close with their families, and Pamela had been raised by a single mother and had 3 younger sisters. She also had become recently engaged to her long-term boyfriend right before her disappearance. There were rumors around the town as well as their school that the girls engaged in partying and liked to drink and do illegal substances. However, this has never been confirmed and is pretty much just a rumor. However, Pamela's sister did say in an interview once that she did things that their mother didn't like, which, if you're reading between the lines, could be referring to her partying or doing illegal substances at the time. So now to 1969, when the girls disappeared. Pam was 15 years old and Patricia, or Patty, was 16. They were both students at Oscoda High School in Michigan, and they were not known to be close friends. However, they were said to have known each other, just that they didn't really hang out much and they kind of had different groups of friends. However, despite not being very close, both girls had the same plans for Halloween night of that year. They were both going to go to their high school's football homecoming game and then afterwards attend the same Halloween party. Pam had actually told her mom about her plans for that evening and said that she should expect her home after the party and by the time she got back from taking her younger sisters trick-or-treating. Now to the actual Halloween day of the girls' disappearance. So October 31st, 1969 started out even really strange. So the school had a bomb threat called in at around 2 p.m., which was really weird and unusual for such a small town to have a bomb threat. But either way, the threat was called in and everyone was forced to evacuate the school for precautionary measure. And at this time, when everyone was evacuating, students saw Pam and Patty exiting the school together and walking away from the school down River Road towards downtown Oscoda. This was the last time that the girls were confirmed to be seen. Downtown Oscoda, where people thought that the girls were headed, is actually 2.5 miles from the school, so that's a pretty far walk, especially around that time of the year in the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest myself, so I know how cold it gets around Halloween, and I know that I wouldn't want to walk 2.5 miles anywhere, especially without a jacket, as the girls were said to be dressed in very light clothing. So it seems unlikely to me that their plan was to walk the entire way, and it seems like from what they were wearing and how far the distance was, that they were planning on hitchhiking or possibly finding a ride somehow. Now from there, we have very little information. Police have said that they have some evidence that the girls made it to the downtown area, and they have confirmed this. However, they haven't released what this evidence is, whether it's witness sightings or, someone was planning on meeting up with them. We have no idea. All we know is that police have said that they made it from the school to the downtown area and that they disappeared somewhere after this. So whether they were hitching a ride back home or back to school, or they met up with someone and there was foul play in the downtown area, it could really be any of these possibilities. So in the meantime, while the girls were heading to the downtown area and possibly there already, the school actually marked them absent for the rest of the afternoon from 2 p.m. on, as they continued classes when they realized that the bomb threat was fake. So there really weren't many classes left once they left school at 2 p.m., which I find to be a really strange part of this case, because normally when people are going to skip school, they skip earlier in the day so that they have more time to do, whatever they want, and it kind of defeats the purpose if the day's almost over. So it almost makes me think that there was some kind of plan to leave at 2 p.m. or they just saw the opportunity when everyone was going outside anyway, and they met up with each other somehow and decided to leave. So after classes, like I said, there was the homecoming football game and then the Halloween party. However, neither girl made it to either of these events, and they were never seen after this 2 p.m. sighting. So when Pam's mom got home from taking her little sister trick-or-treating, she was expecting her daughter to already be home because she had told her that she would be. However, when she got home and her daughter wasn't there, she began to get a little worried, and she waited a little bit and then started calling around to friends as well as her fiance. And when she called Pam's fiance, he let her know that she actually hadn't made it to the party or the football game before. This was really concerning to Pam's mom, as she didn't know where her daughter was, and after making more phone calls, she actually got in contact with Patty's mom, and that's when both mothers connected the dots and realized that both of their daughters were missing and were together. So their parents and families contacted police immediately. However, unfortunately, they did not take the case seriously at first. Police were convinced that the two were runaways and that they had gone to Flint, Michigan for some reason. But after a few weeks passed by and there was no contact from either one of the girls, as well as after they did some more digging and found out that neither girl took anything with them, including their IDs or any kind of clothing or money, they soon realized that there was probably foul play and that the girls most likely didn't run away on their own. Once the police began to take this case seriously, they soon realized that there was very little evidence and the case went cold very quickly. However, in 2011, this case was reinvigorated when a tip came in saying that the two girls were killed by two local men and then buried under a barn owned by a man named Jack Cyril. This barn was known locally as a party place for teenagers where there were many events hosted and many teens went. So this was a very credible tip, and there was a possibility that the girls could be there. So authorities investigated this with cadaver dogs and searched throughout this area. However, nothing was found. The next big break happened in this case in 2013 when a man came forward and said that he picked up the girls along River Road at about 2 p.m., which fits with the timeline of the case, and then dropped them off at a gas station in downtown Escoda where he worked. You might think that this man might be a suspect or could have abducted the girls, but he's actually been looked into by police and they've cleared him of all involvement somehow, so he is currently not a suspect. A lot of people thought it was strange that this was just coming out in 2013 after the girls had been missing for so long, but actually it was revealed that this man came forward when he first heard that the girls were missing, and police dismissed this and said that it wasn't a credible tip. So when he realized that this information wasn't out there and hadn't been recorded, he came forward to police again just to make sure that they knew that he had picked them up. So it's really good that he picked up on the fact that police hadn't taken him seriously, or else we wouldn't have this information that leads us to believe that the girls did make it downtown that day. Now, recently, I've also seen the name of a reporter out there. I'm not going to name him publicly because I've only seen his name on one website, and so I'm not sure if, this is officially out there. I wasn't able to find anything that was official saying his name, so I'm just going to leave it as a local reporter is being investigated as a possible person of interest, and the Escoda police do want to contact him and talk to him about the case, although it's unclear if they have yet or what his possible involvement could be. I'm really curious to know where this tip came from and why police want to talk to him, but they're remaining very tight-lipped in this case, and so all we know is that they're looking into a local reporter. And unfortunately, that's pretty much all we have in this case as far as evidence and a timeline. This case is currently still being looked into and police say that it's still active. However, nothing has come out recently and there haven't even been any news articles on it for a couple years, sadly. So I'm really hoping this video will add new life to this case and hopefully someone in the area will come forward who knows something. Now, let's get into the theories. So the first theory, which police have ruled out and I think is definitely not possible is that the girls ran away on their own accord and somehow started a new life and are alive out there somewhere. Now, I find this to be completely not credible because they took nothing with them. They didn't bring their IDs, they didn't bring money, and also the fact that the girls didn't know each other very well. I mean, why would you run away with a girl that you barely knew instead of, someone you're very close with if you did want to run away? And as I said, police have ruled this out, and after 51 years of them being missing, you would think that there would be some kind of sighting if they were still alive. So with all of that evidence, I really think that this is a very unlikely theory. The second theory is a lesser known one that I've seen on some forums talking about this case that say that the girls possibly could have been abducted and killed by the same person who abducted and killed Stacy Roast and Maureen Nichols in June of 1976 in Bath Township, Michigan. Bath Township is about 3 hours from Muskota, so that's a very far distance for someone to travel for a crime of opportunity. So I really don't think this is the case. I mean, it's true that there were 2 girls abducted in both cases. However, the bodies were found of Stacy and Maureen, and the bodies have not been found of Patty and Pam. So you would think maybe if it were the work of the same person that they may have put the bodies in around the same area, or they might have a habit of not really concealing bodies. As I said, the towns are 3 hours away, and I find it very unlikely that someone would drive that far just to drive around to see if there are girls possibly walking around that they could maybe abduct. That seems like a very big chance to drive 3 hours for. So I really don't think that the cases are connected, other than the fact that the 2 were both kidnapped together. There's really no other connection to these cases. Now, the third and the theory that both police and the families believe is that the girls were abducted and killed that night or shortly after. Now, I tend to agree with this because I find this theory to be the most probable. The girls could have either planned to meet up and possibly get a ride from someone specific, or they were planning to meet up with someone specific who they were both friends with, who then unfortunately did something to them. Or because it has been proven that they made it downtown, someone could have picked them up from the downtown area or met up with them there and then done something to them. I tend to think that it was someone local who did this because I don't know why someone would just be driving around such a small town looking for girls to abduct, even though it is Halloween and strange things happen on Halloween. I just find that very unlikely, and I actually tend to think that maybe the girls knew this person and that's why they trusted him and got in his car or her, and then subsequently they harmed them. Unfortunately, I agree with the police and I don't think that they are alive anymore, which is very sad, and I'm hoping that someone somewhere who knows the answers will come forward and give this family some closure. This case really sticks with me because there's really not much to go off of. At this time, there wasn't CCTV footage, so we don't have footage of the girls walking around downtown or, cell phone data, which we would have now, which really could have solved this case, I feel like, if it were to happen now. But unfortunately, we don't have any of that kind of evidence, and so we're just forced to go off of the little information that we have. I do think that something happened to the girls after the downtown area. I think that they got a ride from someone to either go home or to go to the football game, and they had bad intentions, but that's just me. Pretty much anything is possible in this case because we have so little evidence, but I'd be really curious to hear what you guys think, and please feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to Pam and Patty Stories, and be sure to like and subscribe for new videos coming out soon. Thank you so much, guys. Bye!